Hi there, YouTube. This is the Magnus, bringing you another Total War Warhammer online ladder battle. Today, my opponent chose to play as the Greenskins, and I'm bringing my favorite, Chaos. So what did I do with this build? It's Forsaken. I've got 4 of those intermixed with 3 Aspiring Champions, and in the center, just to the left and right, I have Warriors with great weapons. Right behind them, I have a unit of Dragon Ogres. And then for my flying contingent, I have a Lord, Sorcerer of Fire, and a Feral Manticore. My opponent kind of has 2 armies deployed here, so to speak. This one I cannot see, but we'll talk about that in a second. This one I could see out, right out the gate. Was 3 goblins, the Broken Tusk Mob. He's got a Night Goblin War Boss with a Goblin Big Boss next to him. He's got the Hammer of Gork, a Doomdiver Catapult, and the Arachnarok Queen. Now, what he has hidden is the Rusty Errors. He's got some Night Goblins. He's got a Night Goblin Shaman. He's got 2 Nasty Skulkers. One of the, I forget what they're called, but it just says Night Goblins, but they're the Regiment of Renown version, and he has the Squig Herd. So I start off at a very bad terrain disadvantage. I'm going to be in the swamp, and because he has artillery, I'm going to have to work my way up the hill and try to deal with all this. So first off, obviously I'm headed this way, but I'm going to find out I need to be headed this way too. So let's see how this plays out. I start off right away. I try to run these Dragon Ogres in the woods because I'm hoping you won't see that I have them. They're a very expensive unit, so that they have a lot of potential as well. So I'm going to work them up to here, but keep them in the forest. His artillery begins firing at my lines right away, but thankfully these trees are going to be an issue for him, as is this, this weird angle. So maybe not the best place to put his artillery. It is as far as protecting them, but as far as being able to get good hits on my units, not so much. I'm going to take a fireball shot at his Night Goblin War Boss, and bam! The fireball I've been waiting for, the fireball of my dreams. Big damage to the Night Goblin War Boss, doubles down and hits the Goblin Big Boss, and then also hits the Broken Tusk Mob. So my favorite fireball ever. That's the one I've been waiting for. And it makes me feel a little better about this situation that I'm in. So I'm moving up right now. I still don't know any of this is here. I know he has more, so I'm flying around looking for it, and also just looking for opportunities while I push my line up to here to be able to begin some sort of an assault. So as I'm flying over, I see his Goblin Big Boss and his other leader pop their potions, so I know he's worried about them. And at the same time, I get that little indication, that you found a hidden unit, and it's because the Rusty Airs are just pouring it on these Forsaken from the flank, and it's doing incredible damage. So I start working my flying crew over here. Also because the Arachnarok's firing at me, and I need to find out what's going on and if I can do anything here. I don't see anything too scary, so I decide to go ahead and dive in and get on the Rusty Airs right away. Probably would have been better if I took a second to come in this way instead of coming down the line like that, but we still get a pretty good hit on them. But then he's going to bring out everything he has, his Night Goblin Shamans using abilities, and so he's able to defend me off and pull back the Rusty Airs. So I'm going to pull back my Flyers. Now this time something really weird happens, besides my Forsaken getting absolutely murdered. It's me trying to use another fireball, and for some reason, for the love of God, it shows the little animation there, but it wouldn't let me shoot at the Night Goblin Shaman. So I moved up, and in the meantime, he's just firing away at my other 2 air units. I'm too distracted here, and I have my Dragon Ogre sitting out here in the open. So I'm hoping I'm distracting him here because I want to take my Ogres and put them back here in the forest and see if I can't get him to forget about them, or just get them off his mind so that I can use them to the best effect I can. So I go after the Rusty Airs again, and I'm really going to put a beating on them health-wise and leadership-wise. Again, he's going to bring in Nasty Skulkers, but he also has Night Goblins coming in to attack my leaders. You can see I am, in fact, hiding my Dragon Ogres, and I'm pushing forward with my entire infantry line, including these Forsaken that have next to nothing left. Over here, he uses Smoke Bomb. Sorry about that. Allergies, gotta hate them. So he's using smoke bomb, other things, and he's trying to, get my lords down. So I'm trying to extricate myself here. My lord took quite a bit of damage. The sorcerer and manticore not so much, but we have his shaman on the run, and his rusty air also in pretty bad shape. So now I'm going to make a play here towards the artillery. I bring some Forsaken up the hill. I'm going to support it with my flying contingent, and then he's trying to bring all of these guys up, and I intercept them here with the Forsaken, and I'm going to try to intercept them again with the Aspiring Champions. That way my flying corps up here can work on these virtually uninterrupted. So we're going to be able to interfere with some of them. Some of them are going to get through, but definitely not enough to be any sort of a scare to my boys here. Now over here, the Arachnarok Queen, I'm just trying to hold her down with this Chaos Warrior with Great Weapon and Aspiring Champions. It's nasty, but I figure I have to deal with a lot of the dangerous stuff he has over here before I worry about that. Including the shaman who just took a vindictive glare shot at me, and the rusty airs that just don't want to die. In the meantime, the Aspiring Champions are trying to hold the tide off here, with Forsaken coming in to support. This battle here is just two stinky goblins, but there's enough of them that it's going to slow down my Chaos Warriors with great weapons, and they're already hurt, so it's pretty effective. My Dragon Ogres are successful in defeating the Broken Tusk mob. They better be, they're 500 more, and now they're working on the Goblin Big Boss, assisted by Forsaken, and I want to get this done as soon as possible because I've already scared his Night Goblin War Boss, and I want to be able to send what remains of my Dragon Ogres after the Arachnarok Spider, where they will be sorely needed. On the other side, I'm trying to finish off this Night Goblin Shaman, but he's fleeing, but he's not completely done with. But I see that he's got these Skulkers coming out, so I send 2 units after them, make sure I destroy them quickly, and then the other to give pursuit. Now my Dragon Ogres are going to make their charge here, along with some Aspiring Champions that won their fight, to try to start to put down the Spider. You can see she's taking some damage, but not much, sitting around 4,000 health. But look how fast her health goes down on that charge. It was worth about 500 from the Dragon Ogres, and they're just beating the crap out of this thing right now. So that it was so important that they won that fight and survived to come over and offer relief. Now that the Night Goblin Shaman's been dealt with, I'm bringing my entire Flying Corps over. Over here, he has some that reformed. He brings out some Squig Herd that I wasn't even totally aware he had. I think he should have brought him through the forest and brought him around my rear. He would have got a better effect because they're going to have a hard time in that fight. Right now, we just cleaned up the Arachnarok Spider while we scared her off, the Arachnarok Queen. So then I start heading everything back here to try to finish off the stuff he has that is not, in bad shape right now. So the Feral Manticore comes crashing in, trying to help get rid of these Night Goblins and these Squigs. It quickly scares off the Night Goblins. They want nothing to do with it. The Squigs are freaking out. I bring over the Sorcerer of Fire, and I put down the Flaming Sword of Ruin so they can do extra damage. In the meantime, I sent the Chaos Lord after the Arachnarok Queen. I've made the mistake in other games of scaring her off and then discounting her, and she comes back and makes me pay for it. Not going to happen this time. We're going to put it down on her. As you can see, the balance bar now is fully in my favor because everything he has is fleeing or dead, with the exception of the Night Goblins, who are Regiment of Renown. I can't remember their name. I think it's the Loonies or whatever. It doesn't say that they are unbreakable, but they must be unbreakable because they're not running. They want to have this thing out. So I've got everybody piling on them, and here pretty quickly they eat it, and that's going to be the end of the battle. So regardless of some bad terrain and some sneaky, well done sneaky play by my opponent, we were able to persevere. Good game to my opponent. Now let's take a look at how my army did. The Forsaken did fine, well, some great. The Aspiring Champions were decent as always. The Chaos Warriors with great weapons were good. The Feral Manticore did fantastic. The Dragon Ogres, as you saw, were so important in that we were able to take out his powerful Cav unit, then take out a big boss, and then bring the Pain Train onto the Arachnarok Queen. So I'm really glad I had these guys on board. Chaos Sorcerer, some of the best fireballs I've ever had. Maybe you guys have done better, but that first fireball was just so epic. And the Chaos Lord killed a lot of greenskins. Looking at my opponent's army, I don't think it's a bad composition, and I don't think at all that his little trap there with having guys on the left side of that hill was bad. It was actually quite good. But the thing that jumps out at me is you have so many units that do so many different things. You've got, Big Boss and your Lord, so they need to be microed. You've got a Night Goblin Shaman. You better be microing him. These loonies and whatnot, you need to micro them to use their ability. Otherwise, you're better off just going with like nasty skulkers. And then you got Rusty Airs. They need some micro. You got cavalry and Squig Herd and Arachnarok, artillery. This is a lot of micro. And unless you have sick micro skills, you're not going to be able to use this many specialized units to the best of their ability. There's a reason why, a lot of the better players' armies look more like mine, where you have, a standard line and then some specialty units that you can use for different things. In a perfect world, if you had perfect micro, you were ridiculously fast. His build is much better. But from looking at the battle and what happened, some of his units weren't used to the best, and that's because this is just too much. There's no way I could ever play this successfully, and there's only a handful of people in the world, I believe, who can. You're talking 9 control groups easy here. So you want to have some complexity in your armies, and I think I've mentioned this to you guys before, but only bring as much complexity as you can handle. If you see Ninja Hun with a certain army and he's crushing everything, and you're like, oh, I'm going to run that thing, and you go run it, and you lose a bunch of matches, and you're like, what the hell's going on? Odds are it's because he's able to micro 5 or 6 different specialty units, and you should be using 2 or 3. So find your own limits. It'll help you out a lot. Speaking of helping you out a lot, I hope this video and all of my videos do. So if you learned something, if you liked the battle and you just want to see more, please hit that like button, that thumbs up, and subscribe so that you get all of my videos so you'll know when they come out and you'll be able to check them out right away. Until the next time, this is the Magnus, and I will see you on the ladder.